lands being exploited, our rights not honored, and our people mistreated. From all the injustices, atrocities, genocide we went through, from the treatment, the state of Canada, we have fulfilled our side of the treaty. We can't say the same for the Crown and their servants in Canada. You know, it's good to see the leadership gather here. They're here representing their nations and their people, their children. To remind Canada that you have to keep honoring the treaties to the true intent and spirit when our ancestors signed with them when you gathered. So, Gagilog and Alaskamit now for coming. We'll let the other leaders speak. So, Gagilog and Alaskamit now, Gagilog. Thank you.
Miigwech Regional Chief, thank you very much. Next up, we have the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs, Grand Chief Kyra Wilson. Hello, good afternoon. My name is Kyra Wilson, Grand Chief for the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs. I just want to say thank you to everyone that's here today, everyone that is watching. We have so many leadership here, and we've been talking about a very important discussion that we've been having for generations, and that being the treaties. And right now, what we've been talking about for many, many years is the implementation of our treaties, honoring of the treaties. And, just right now, actually, I was able to sit in Senate and actually experience for the first time, for myself, actually, the King having or being a part of the throne speech. And so just listening to some of the wording that was shared today with the King, there was a mention of Indigenous peoples. There was the mention of truth and reconciliation, and my understanding is that this is the first time that this has happened, where the King has been, a part of this process here in Canada. And when there is mention of Indigenous people and truth and reconciliation, that makes me hopeful to the renewed relationship that we can have as First Nations people with the Crown. Of course, our treaties are signed with the Crown; they're not signed with Canada. And so, going forward, my hope is that Canada will respect our treaties, respect who we are as First Nations people, and will work together, because we are not going away. We are the First Peoples of this land, and we need to ensure that our nations are being respected in the territories that we come from. And so I'm hopeful today. I gather here with the rest of the leadership, and we're gonna keep pushing forward. The treaties speaks to the relationship that we have as First Nations peoples with this land. We are the First Peoples of this land, and everyone else, I respect the relationship, the allies that we have, but you are visitors to this land, because we are the First Peoples of this land. Miigwech. Miigwech, Grand Chief. Next up, we have Vice Chief David Pratt from the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations.
And I want to acknowledge the territory that we're on, of the Algonquin, Huron, and Anishinaabe people, for having us in their territory. We recognize their unceded and unsurrendered lands that we're on here today. I want to acknowledge our elders this morning, Elder AJ and Grand Chief Daniels, for bringing their pipe today for us to say prayers and start things off in a good way. Acknowledge all the chiefs, the leadership from across Canada that have showed up here today. The amount of bonnets that you see here today, representing all the nations across the country, show just how important this visit is to First Nations people. We heard the throne speech. We heard the King speak on behalf of his First Minister's government, laying out their legislative priorities. We want to remind the Crown, we want to remind the the King's First Minister, Prime Minister Carney, to meaningfully engage our chiefs. Don't just placate us with nice words. That day and age is over. Don't come and try to take resources out of our backyards without sitting first with our elders and treating us with the respect that we deserve. And that's what we want. It's not right that we had a pipe ceremony on Parliament Hill and there was not one government minister there to smoke pipe with us, nor one representative of the Crown. That's a shame. And they want to talk about reconciliation in the throne speech. Well, there's that old saying, actions speak louder than words. And right now, there's no action, but we got a lot of words across the street.
For sure.
So today, we're calling upon the King. Come to our territories. Sit with our chiefs. Treaty 6, 150th is coming up next year. Treaty 5, 150th is coming up this fall. Come and sit with us. Prime Minister Carney and your cabinet. Come and sit with us and listen to our chiefs and our leadership. They talked about Canada being an economic superpower. Well, how can Canada go out there and preach human rights and being an economic superpower when 80% of First Nations people live in poverty in this country? That's not right. When we're excluded from the oil and resource and mineral extraction in our own backyards, yet foreign companies and American and Canadian mining companies come and take that resource out of the ground and leave us with nothing but a hole in the ground and the oil wells to clean up. We're not against development, but we want it done properly and with respect. If they want to know how to deal with First Nations people, come and sit with our chiefs. Come and sit with our Katek. Come and they'll tell you what we want. Everybody's wondering, how do we deal with First Nations? Well, number one, Canada needs to stop looking at us as the Indian problem and start looking at us as the Indian solution. Because that's what we want. And this country will never fulfill its destiny till it treats each one of the First Nations people in this country with the respect and courtesy that they deserve. So with that, Chief Bobby Cameron and our 74 chiefs in Saskatchewan stand shoulder to shoulder with all our leadership that are here, our Katek, our youth that come from across this country. But we're not done yet. The fight's just starting. It ain't not over yet. And it might be like David and Goliath, but we all know how that story ended. Goliath's head was on the stick.
Miigwech, Vice Chief. Next up we have from the Confederacy of Treaty 6 First Nations, Grand Chief Greg Desjardins.
Anista. Asemina nanaska mago tawino. Lanaska mauto winskawanots. Atam Scott now kapkyo. I first give my gratitude to the Creator. I give him thanks for allowing me to wake up today. I shake hands with each and every one of you. I give thanks to our elders for lifting the pipe today first and foremost. I give thanks to the people who got us to today. Those who signed treaty, who seen that they wanted a better life for us. I just want to thank the Canadian Armed Forces for the flyover and giving me that honor. I want to thank motherhood. And I want to thank each and every one of you for coming here today, all the chiefs and the leadership from your respective community. You know, to hear the throne speech, we knew all that stuff. I want to thank Chief Pratt and the other speakers for reminding the King we give him a year's notice to come to our territories, to come and sit with us, to honor that treaty, where we seal it with a pen, but also with the covenant of a sacred pipe. You know, and that's important for the treaty people to know, to realize we're all treaty people. It don't matter what shade we are on the outside, we're all treaty people. The people that come to Canada here as newcomers, you have to learn the history. You have to learn what our people have gone through. You know, they talk about reconciliation. We've known that. We've been waiting 150 years for that, and it hasn't happened to our people. You know, I want to give thanks once again to the chiefs that are here. You know, we need to hold the Prime Minister Carney accountable. We need to keep his feet to the fire in that task. You know, the King came here to read out, you know, the throne speech. You know, very disappointed again. No word about treaty, just about reconciliation. We all know the history, what our people have gone through. It's time for them to uphold treaty. This country was built on Indian resources, Indian land. Some of my people call it pirated resources, pirated land, stolen resources. You know, and it's time for them to come to the table. We've been fighting this for too long. I give thanks to Elijah Harper, the late Elijah Harper, the late Harold Cardinal, the people who got us to today, who stood up. This is the same government that introduced that paper, the white paper, they call it. We need to push back. Go to ceremony. Show your kids something good. Educate them on what is happening in this world. And I'm grateful to be here to share some words, to encourage each and every one of you, the chiefs, to keep pushing, for the people to get behind the chiefs, the leadership, and not to fight. You look out throughout the world, the amount of fighting that's going on in the world, the killing, the national issues that are happening, the provincial issues, and our own issues in our nations, and even fighting amongst each other. The world can learn from this peace treaty. That's what I want to share in closing. May Creator bless each and every one of you, the people that you love, your home fires, your nations, and the ones that are struggling with addiction or mental illness. Let's bring them along with us. And let's think about the 7 generations where we can have a beautiful life, drug and alcohol free, and prosper, and our kids can be healed again from the atrocities that this government and the church system put our people through. Let's hold them accountable. May Creator bless you all. Thank you.
Next up we have from Mino Gijibi, Anishinaabe, Chief Derek Neepanak.
Uzuni Chugamakana, Nibin Makwa, Dishnakas Makwan Totem. I'm Derek Neepanak, Chief of the Minnegozibi Anishinaabe. We're about 6,000 strong on the west shores of what's called Lake Winnipegozis and what's called Manitoba in the Treaty 4 territory. I had the great honor of receiving the invitation and a seat in the Senate to witness the King. Really, be ready. Get your technicians ready. They're compressing these projects from 5 years into 2 years. The junior crowns are lining up behind the big crown, and they're going to be knocking on your door right away, if not already. This is the time for us to be prepared for what's next. Some of you can participate. Some of us won't. But let's protect the water first. That's the most important thing we have is our water. Please stand and protect the water, because this is going to happen quickly. Yes. They say it with kindness. They say it with displays of great wealth. But they're coming for us now. So be ready. Miigwech.
Invite up Chief Jackal. Sorry, I'll let you introduce yourself. Thank you. Yeah.
Naglanite Hoha. The chiefs before you today have traveled from across Turtle Island, hoping to speak to the King of the nation we entered into treaty with. Treaty is a declaration between sovereign nations to cooperate for the benefit of both peoples. I know he is busy, but imagine if you haven't seen your business partner in 150 years. Since high-tech meant square boats sails, the peoples indigenous to these lands have suffered from each new stage of progress, from the apartheid systems of reserves and residential schools to industry, destroying the lands we are responsible for protecting. I know His Majesty cares for the land deeply. We ask Him to care for its people too. I am Chief Kelsey Jocko of Thuy Truk Thuy, and I call on the King Charles to work with the Prime Minister to establish a Royal Commission on Treaty in the 21st century, a commission to reflect on the integrity of the honor of the Crown, a commission to renew the Crown. No, we shouldn't be overlooked. Water is life. Biodiversity is changing. And I thank you all for coming here today and hearing my words. There's other chiefs here that are ready to speak. So Masi Cho again.
Yes, okay. Thank you very much, Chief. I want to invite up next Grand Chief Trevor Mercury from Treaty 8.
Good afternoon. My name is Trevor Mercury, I'm Grand Chief of Treaty 8 up in northern Alberta. Many of you may not know that Treaty 8 is the largest treaty territory in Canada. A lot of times when we talk about equalization payments between provinces, the payments coming into this area, the payments going into Quebec, those resources and that revenue is coming off of our lands each and every day while our people are suffering. Our people come here in duress today. We don't come here with peace on our minds. We come here with issues and we come under duress. When we're standing outside the Senate and the King is speaking on behalf of his people, he has to recognize that he's on treaty land. And we, as a treaty rights holder, own this land and these resources. They have to be recognized. If we're outside here on the sidewalks while the King is doing his speech in there talking about barriers and red tape removal, he's talking about us while we're outside here. Yes, there is a few chiefs inside there. That is not acceptable. We have what I would say is a very reasonable number of representatives here from treaty nations that were not respected. That's the reason we're here, outside here today. If the King and the Prime Minister cannot respect treaty, why are they here? Why are they promoting themselves? Why are they promoting our resources? We have to stand to be ready because they're coming for our resources. They're coming for our water. When we are talking, when the Prime Minister, when the throat speech was spoken today, there's a lot of the things that Danielle Smith was working on out in Alberta, some of her concerns at Trump. Those concerns were brought to the table today. Where's our treaty concerns? Where's the concerns of our people? Why were we left outside and why do we accept it? It's gone on far too long and our chiefs are not happy. It was said earlier today that our people are suffering at home. Look around. Every single building here is on treaty land built with treaty resources. The hospitals, the arenas, the very sidewalk that we're on, the people here living on treaty land. They're living off the backs of our people. And it's about time that you stand up and start supporting our Indigenous people. Start supporting them to be MPs, MLAs, and all of these types of ideas. Because we have strength. Now, when we talk about resources, a lot of times, a lot of people like to think that we are, we provide resistance. All we're looking for is a fair deal, something for our kids to be proud of. All we're doing is passing on problems to our children. Let's pass on some solutions. This is what we're here for today. The chiefs have had enough. The treaty chiefs have had enough. Treaty 8 has had enough. It's about time that we push hard and we strategize in a legal way. We have to start slowing down a lot of the legislation coming out of the provinces and what's coming out of Parliament here. It has to be challenged. And we need to get together and make sure we have a concerted effort. We cannot be siloed anymore. Nothing like this has happened since 2012. No, I don't know more. Have we seen this type of unity? It's about time we do the right thing. Let's carry this momentum. Very powerful people here, the true rights holder, yet we're outside the Senate. It's unacceptable, and we will change that. Masi, thank you.
Up next, we have, Chief Maureen Brown from Opaskwayak Cree Nation.
Good afternoon. My name is Maureen Brown. I'm from Opaskwayak Cree Nation. And I carry within me the message of our ancestors. And I thank the King for the message that there will be transformational benefits for all. We are Canada. This is our home. This is our home. This is our land. I'd like to thank Justin, who is an OCN member and a veteran who is standing with me. And I represent my community of Opaskwayak. Opaskwayak is in northern Manitoba, and we have built our community against incredible odds and against legislations that are there to hinder our growth. But with every hindrance, there came a great resurgence to continue to fight the obstacles that stood in our way. So right now, I challenge all of us as Canadians, as First Nation, as new settlers, as newcomers to our land, to rise up and to be unified in a way that our neighbor next door unified us when there was a threat against our sovereignty, individually and collectively. And that is the spirit of our ancestors, to help one another. Our ancestors fed the newcomers that came onto this land. Our ancestors fed the Confederates, the over 30,000 Confederates that came and migrated to Canada after they lost the Civil War. That's the spirit of our ancestors. And that is the spirit that is going to change this country. That is the spirit that is going to make Canada the place to live, the place to be, the place to grow. But we all have to work together. So with that, I thank all of the leaders that are gathered here today. We left our families, we left our communities, because we have this passion for justice, this passion for equality on our land, to be recognized. We were planted here. We have inherent rights. We have sovereignty on this land. We do not have an assumption of sovereignty. We were placed here by the Creator. And I know our First Nation people are innovative, creative, fearless, and we can build a Canada that is strong, that is transformational, that is beneficial for everyone. Thank you all for being here, and thank you, Justin, who is an OCN member, for standing with me at this time. I greet everyone in memory of our ancestors who brought us here, who fought hard, and the fight will continue until we have an equal place at the table. Egusani.
Next up, we have Chief Erica Bodin from Kawasis First Nation.
afternoon. As said, my name is Chief Kyra Wilson from the Cowes First Nation, Treaty 4 Territory. I am also the chair of the Saskatchewan First Nations Women's Commission in what is now Saskatchewan, of which we hold 1/3 of all chief seats in our federation. We are here today to talk about our role as women, as grandmothers, as chaplains of those that have gone on and those yet to come. We are proud to stand here. At the time of treaty, we were equal. We may not have been seen, but it was our men that came, and we spoke in the evenings, and we told them and shared with them what our children and what our nation needed at the time of signing of treaty. Today we have more of a contemporary role where we hold the position of Ogamawak. That does not mean that our position has changed. We are very hopeful for what we heard today. While Prime Minister Carney made a statement by having King Charles come here to show we are a monarchist country, we too are here to say that our relationship is with the King. As mothers, we have often had to struggle to fight or to feed our children. Many of us know what it is like to try to make ends meet, just to have our children eat. And times are tough, not only during the month, but especially at the end of the month. As chiefs, Ogamawak, it is no different when we go to the minister's office and we are begging for that same food, that same sustenance that our women are begging on the streets to feed their children. Our role is just a little bit different. We want them not to struggle just as we've struggled. We want our children, our daughters, our sons, our grandchildren never to have to struggle like we did. Now is the time for change. Now is the time to be heard. Now is the time for Prime Minister Carney to move beyond truth and reconciliation. We know the truth. We know what it's going to take to have our children fed and to have that bright future every other Canadian has. We will be there, hands extended, the way that we were at treaty, the way that we did not send them back, and we are looking forward to that renewed relationship and those promises to be kept. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker here, I want to invite up from the Southern Chiefs Organization, Grand Chief Jerry Daniels and Youth Chief Lacey Bird.
I thank our Creator for a beautiful day. My relatives. I want to just state that we're here as allies. We've been here since the beginning, since before the treaties were ever signed. We were here helping, ensuring the survival of those who came to our lands to join us. And for a very long time, they sat with us in our communities. They smoked pipe with us for hundreds of years before a treaty was ever signed. And so I want to make that statement clear. We are allies. We've never given up sovereignty. There was never a time in our history where we sat with the Crown, or we sat with the government officials and said, yes, you can govern us. That is not the history of our relationship. That is not the intent. And so I want to make that clear. And secondly, the relationship that we have with the land is a sacred responsibility. Our future is directly connected to the health and well-being of the land and the lakes. The land is alive. The water is alive. And we've known that for thousands of years. And so it's important that those who purport to talk about quick solutions or quick approval processes in large resource development need to understand that the land is alive. That whatever we do going forward has to respect the nature of that land being alive. And that's really the message I want to make. Absolutely, our jurisdiction and that relationship needs to be reestablished, but we need to recognize the importance of the water, the importance of the land. And so that's why we've stood up for our lake back home and said that the lake needs to be recognized as a human being. The lake needs to be understood to have its own integrity. And that needs to go on forever in everything we do, forever. And everything that goes since then has to continue. So I want to pass it to our youth chief, Lacey Bird, to share a few words. Pretty much.
My name is Lacey Bird. I'm from Black River First Nation and I'm 16 years old. I'm the Southern Chiefs Organization Female Youth Chief and I'm here with one of my youth council members, Avery. She's here in support. We're here on behalf of the youth across Manitoba and want to share with everyone that we are aware and we want change. The Crown mentioned reconciliation, so acknowledging these treaties and honoring them should be the first step, because the youth of today, the youth of tomorrow, and the youth of yesterday depend on it, and we deserve it. We deserve that reconciliation that they talked about. We absolutely cannot have another round of generations go through the hundreds of years of being wronged. So keep your word to our people, to the Crown, and the Government of Canada, because we need that. We want that change for our youth. Especially to our elders here standing around us and our chiefs that have gone through everything that Canada has put us through. So it just makes me really emotional. I can't believe I had to go through what I went through as a child, and I can't believe we had to go through all of that for generations upon generations. So I think that's all I will share today. Miigwech, Minagi, Ngawapin,
Next up, we have Dene National Chief George Mackenzie from the Dene Nation.
When you get to be one of the last speakers, everything that was said needed to be said. There's nothing more to be said like, so thank you. When you look around you in the city of Ottawa, you see all the infrastructures, modern buildings that you see. When you look in our communities, small communities, wherever we are from the reserve, Northwest Territories, you don't see a building like this at all. What do you see? A broken window. You see a lot of that. Poverty. So what we're saying here is, give us the opportunity as the First Nation of Canada. We need an opportunity for our young people for the future. Yes. Our young people should be strong in their cultural language, good on the land, can survive on the land, and be proud of it. At the same time, be the best they can be in education, as high as they can go in the field of education. So when you have those two, you mesh it together. It's called strong like two. You're one person, but you're strong like two. We need that opportunity. We need to be given that opportunity. Are we getting that opportunity today? Not as it should be. All the development, all the resources, and we're here today in our homeland, back home, for less privileged society people today. How much longer is it going to be like that? You know, we hear all of the famous speakers. They speak about us on our behalf. No. We speak for ourselves.
That's right.
Put us to the table.
That's right.
The chiefs, they wake up every morning. They go to sleep every night in their communities. They know what's happening in their communities. They know the problems. But the government said, we know what's good for you. We know how to speak for you. No more of that. I said that in the Northwest Territories. I told the Western Premier Conference. They said, they spoke for us. They spoke on our behalf. But nothing ever gets done. Nothing gets done. Some of the people, the tribes, the nation are self-government. That is the way to go. If we want the problem to fix for the First Nation, give us the self-government and we'll prove it to you. That will be number one. I'd like to see in my time, it's not better to know First Nation person become the Prime Minister.
Woo! Yes! Yes!
It's like the United States, everywhere else. Why not here? What does that mean? I mean we speak for ourselves. Nobody speaks for us. That's the important part. The opportunity for young people is slipping away. It's slipping away faster with the drug and alcohol problem today. Give us the resources we need, all the funding we need to help our young people to be strong like you. And then we will have a strong nation in the future. That's my wishes. And I want to thank the organizers for giving me the plane ticket. I hope it's not one way. Thank you.
Next up, we have Chief David Munias from Cross Lake First Nation.
Fancy get the biscuit, no, the Kimaganak, the Swedish, Minagano, the Tiatsuk, the Scott Sucks, Fog, Napion. Greetings, everybody, all the chiefs that are here. Thank you for allowing us to speak and giving us a voice to express our concerns and our wishes. Greetings to the elders, the women, the men, and everybody, all the councilors that are here and the leaders. I just want to say one thing that to the king. We were sovereign before we were treaty. We were sovereign, we still are sovereign. And you have to respect that. We enter these treaties to make sure that we share land, we share resources, and therefore Canada, who's the colonial state, must share revenue as well. You cannot leave us out. You have to include us in everything that you do. Consultation, accommodation, free and prior and informed consent must occur with our people. You say to Mr. Carney, Prime Minister, you talk about one economy, but you talk about the provinces and Canada, and you're still excluding First Nations, and that cannot happen. And our leadership that are standing around here, we must gather as treaty rights First Nations. The treaty rights holders, we have to stand up and say no if they do not want to share revenue when they're extracting our resources. I came here to Ottawa at the urging of my elders. Right now we're evacuating people because of smoke and fires that are happening at home. I'll be heading back today, but one of them came here. Wanted to stand on the sidelines because we're left out. Just like on the research area, but it was good again, the leftovers.
That's the way we're still treated. We cannot allow that to happen. We must continue to fight for our rights and our entitlements. I'm sorry I'm yelling, but it's just, I'm competing with people out there talking there. I can't hear myself. But thank you for everybody that's here that stood up, all the chiefs, the grand chiefs, representing your people, the children, the future. I thank the young lady, the youth chief that spoke here. I see her many times speaking. And those are the people, and those are not yet born. That's what we are speaking for. Our great-grandchildren that are yet to be born. We're still speaking for those people. We have to protect the land, Mother Earth, and the water. It's being destroyed every day. Our land is not for sale. Our water is not for sale. You have to make sure that you talk to us if you want to develop in our nations, in our territories. And you must include us in the talks from the very beginning. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have 4 more speakers, and then we will open up the mic just to let everyone know. Up next, we have from the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations, 3rd Vice Chief Fabian Head.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Namaskar. Kagisigak, Fabian Head, Big Squaw Agas, Treaty 5 territory, representing the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations. I'd like to first and foremost acknowledge our Creator for this day. I'd like to thank AJ for lifting up the pipe this morning and you for saying a prayer. And this afternoon I want to speak on the narrative, reconciling the narrative. London, England, Canada needs to reconcile that narrative. Enough is enough. We have our stories passed down through oral traditions. We have our stories that continue on and live on. We are not history yet. We are still here. What needs to be reconciled is the historical imbalance in how the relationship between First Nation and the Crown has been portrayed. To take our rightful place on Turtle Island, as it was promised of our ancestors on the day of treaty, that we had it then, and all other treaty promises would be on top. To the King, the treaty medallions that our chiefs are wearing are symbolic. King Charles, do you remember these? Because we do. We remember the promises that our nations exchanged. Only you allowed Canada to enter to inherit the benefits of our promises without us. It was your crown, your honor, that said the treaties would last as long as the sun shines, the grass grows, and the river flows. It remains your responsibility to ensure that Canada upholds these obligations in your absence. We are not clients to Canada. We are not clients. We are not stakeholders. We are in a treaty relationship as sovereign to sovereign. We are a nation. We hold a jurisdiction that was never surrendered. We hold knowledge. We hold memory. And we are done asking for permission to live in our own power. To the chiefs, counselors, elders, youth listening, we were never broken.
Yeah.
What was broken was the trust. What was broken was the promises. What was broken was the illusion that we could never be replaced by another system. So kasama wakumtit na naskump na anong kagisagap. Hi hi.
Hi hi.
Great. Miigwech. And up next we have Chief Billy Joe Tukuru from Mikisew Cree Nation.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I'm Chief Billy Joe Tukuru. I'm from where the sun shines, the grass grows, and the rivers flow. Treaty 8 territory in the heart of oil country. From what we heard this morning from the throne speech, is very alarming for my people that they're going to fast track development from 5 to 2 years, because already we have an outstanding cancer rates in my community with the most rarest forms of cancer, the bile duct cancer. Since I've been the chief, I can say I've had probably 75 to 100 people diagnosed in the last 2.5 years. This is a very alarming day for us, but I can say this. I thank my chief, Mick Sue, for giving me this honor today to continue the fight that he put up for me in 1899. I fight in his spirit, and I come with the word of the Mick Sue people that we have had enough of being on the sidelines. It's disrespectful when you travel over 4.5 hours, then I have to drive 7 hours, then catch another flight to my reserve to be here. But you know what that tells me? The treaty is number one, and I can say this among the chiefs: we all have different agendas, but one thing we have in common is the treaty, and we must fight for that for the future generations to come. I can say this: the Mick Sue Cree people, we have always put up the fight in regards to the legislation that they put forward to us. We won our case for the duty to accommodate, and we've also lost one. And now this is very alarming that they're going to fast track this development. And I can say this on behalf of the Mick Sue Cree people: we live a very good life because of industry. But at the same time, you need to respect us. You need to listen to our stories, listen to my people, my elders. Because at the end of the day, when they say they're going to fast track people, that's cutting it down 60% from 5 to 2 years, 60%. So that's telling me I need to do more work, because my people are 60% behind the 8 ball already in regards to development in our area, and we will not go down lightly. Thank you very much. Hi.
Thank you much, Chief. We have 2 more speakers, and then we are going to end it. We won't be taking questions today, unfortunately. We'll have to draw it there. Chief Wilfred Hukanaza from Denende.
I'll do it correctly. My name is Wilfred Hukanaza, Denende First Nation, and also a Grand Chief for the North Peace Tribal Council. Today I wear this medal as a reminder that we have a treaty that is a living document that just needs some maintenance. Maintenance from the Crown that can help us together to develop, and as partners we can move forward. This day is important to stand among the other chiefs to protect our treaties. And it's not only for today that we're doing this important thing, it's also for the future generation. I believe we continue to carry on the legacy that our ancestors promised the newcomers to live side by side, to share resources, knowing that we have never given up our sovereignty. We have our culture, we have our language, we have our ceremonies, and we have our own laws. So what does that make us? We are unique, different, but under the treaties, we come together as a unit. It's not having a wonderful time in Ottawa. I come here knowing that we lost our elder in our community. Today they're holding a wake, and tomorrow they will have a funeral. So that is a commitment we put upon ourselves as leaders to bring forth messages from our community. When our ancestors agreed to Treaty 8, they did so with the hope of establishing a relationship built on mutual respect, understanding, and shared prosperity. They believed this treaty would protect our lands, our way of life, and our rights as our original stewards of this territory. They envisioned a future where we could coexist peacefully and equitably with newcomers, sharing the benefits of the land and its resources. However, over the years, the honor of this relationship has been profoundly damaged. The creation of new orders of governance in Alberta. First, the province, the municipalities, and the corporate entities that drive government has often disregarded the spirit and the intent of Treaty 8. These institutions have frequently failed to respect our treaty rights, leading to a range of historical grievances that our nation continues to experience to this day. As Chief of Canada First Nation, I have spent a lifetime reflecting on these injustices. Our people have faced numerous challenges: the erosion of our lands, the marginalization of our voices in decisions that affect us, and the ongoing struggle to protect our rights, our way of life. These are not just historical issues. They are current realities that impact our daily lives and our future generations. Yes, despite these challenges, we hold on to hope. We believe in the possibility of reconciliation, a reconciliation that is not just a word, but a tangible commitment to justice, respect, and partnership. We believe that through open dialogue, genuine understanding, and concrete actions, we can rebuild the trust that has been broken and create a future where our treaty rights are honored, our voices are heard, and our people can strive. To the leaders of Alberta and Canada, I say this reconciliation is a shared journey. It requires more than promises. It requires action. It requires you to listen to our stories, understand our struggles, and work with us to address the wrongs of the past and present. It requires you to honor the treaties, not as historical documents, but as a living agreement that is vital to our collective future. To my fellow nations, I say this: let us stand strong and united. Let us honor the legacy of our ancestors for continuing to fight for our rights and our future. Let us teach our children the importance of our history, our culture, and our treaties. And let us never lose hope, for it is hope that sustains us and guides us towards the future generation. In closing, let us remember that Treaty 8 is more than a piece of paper. It is a promise of respect, partnership, mutual benefit. Let us work together to ensure that this promise is fulfilled, not just for us, but for all future generations. Message hope.
Much. We're going to end off with two elders, and then we'll close up for the day. Elder Ronnie Beardy from Island Lake, Manitoba. Is he still here? Yes, right.
Good afternoon. It's a great honor. You know, people, I want to tell you how we ended up. Please bear with me, because at the end of this little saying, you're going to understand what I mean. A long time ago, probably before Columbus landed on this side of the continent, a person original person was sitting at the side of the sea on a big log. All of a sudden, a stranger appeared in front of him. And he was sitting on the edge of that big log, and a stranger asked him, "Can you move over a little bit so that I can sit down with you?" And of course, as kind-hearted people as we are, and you know why I'm saying that, he moved over to give that stranger a place to sit down beside him. A little while after, he asked him again, "Can you please move over a little more so that I can have more space?" Sure enough, he did the same thing. On and on and on and on again, he asked him to move over and over and over until he fell over at the other side of that big log. Until that stranger had all that space to himself. And that indigenous person was sitting on the ground. When that stranger had all that space to himself. Today, that's what we look like. That's us trying to get off the ground, to rebuild ourselves, our inheritance, our God-given right. Now you understand who we really are. We are First People of Canada. And too many times already we have been called other names. We've been called Natives, First Nations, Aboriginal people, and now Indigenous people. When are we going to get the respect that we need? We should just be First People because we were the first people on this side of the continent.
Yeah. Hi.
I have a lot to share with you because I'm 76 years old and I have seen history being made throughout all this time. And for us, it's hardly even getting better than what I expected when I was a young man. We still live in poverty. All our land has been taken away from us, which is our God-given right. We did not surrender or sell 1 square inch of this land. It's ours. And guess what? Other people have become millionaires, billionaires out of our resources. What do we have? We still live in poverty. I thank you very much. It's an honor to talk to you.
Hello, my name is Walter Harper. I am from Manitoba. I want to put water on Mother Earth. I want to pray to the Creator that everything is okay to all people that are here today. So pray with me. Very much.
Very much for that, thank you. And our last speaker, Elder Jimmy O'Cheese from Foothills Ojibwe Nation.
My last meeting, I was not from Aventic. It's going to borrow the Cree language. And Snabe Anisni. And Snabe Manquia, come on, Jay. Agimata Equasia. Agitapasio, Agitapasia, Kutesa, Snewachi. I just want to say thank you for allowing me to speak in our homeland. As one always trying to remind, especially the king, and we are the runners that ran to protect our bundles. We went through here from all the way from Minnesota, went to Manitoulin, and through here, and ended up in northern Alberta. That's called Hinton, Alberta. By Jasper. That's where I come from. My great-grandfather, Chief Pontiac, actually the one that signed in an international sovereign treaty with King George. And you can find it. You can look it up and you find that binding agreement that was made back in 1763 and 64. So today I still carry this hat. Even though we fixed it, but we still use the feathers. International Peace and Friendship Sovereign Treaty with King George at the time. And I just wanted to remind the king to uphold that treaty that was made before the Queen. See, this treaty back in 1871 began in Manitoba, Treaty number 1, and onwards to Treaty number 11. The treaty I'm talking about is the international treaty that was made with King George and my great-grandfather, Chief Pontiac. And there's a medallion for that, and King at the time recognized that the two-row wampum belt that we still have from that symbolic agreement. And we still have that, the two-row wampum. That treaty, we need to revisit as chiefs, because we weren't allowed to interpret our treaties when they outlawed, when they banned our spirit of intent, which is after the Indian Act. They said we banned pot lodges and sun dances and etc. ceremonies. That ceremony that took place this morning, that couldn't have taken place at the time. The pipe that was used there, that's the constitution we had here. Before European contact, that's what we had, and we still have it today. The feathers that we carry, the eagle staff that's here, that's all we had. We never had that Canadian flag or provincial flag. When we talk about our sustenance that we shared with the king's children as brothers and sisters back in 1763 and 64, agreeing to live side by side on this land. We never surrendered this land, we never gave it up, we never sold it, we shared it. Because of
the spirit that we pray to, that we call the Creator, God. The pipe that we used this morning, we still follow that today. Since that time, long as sun rises, long as water flows, long as the grass grows, long as there's native people. I don't know if anybody, I mentioned it yesterday, I'm going to say it again. This down here, south here, when you get into Alberta and Saskatchewan, there's a symbol of our face on those hills. It's called Cypress Hills. You can Google that on Earth, Google Earth, and you can find a native face right on the soil. See, we didn't come from another country. Otherwise, we would have a lot of people across the ocean like us, like everybody else that comes from the other side of the ocean. We never came across that Bering Strait they teach us that we came across. No. There would be lots of us. We still are. So, we got to remember our own identity, our own connection to our homeland. And everything that we see, it's about the human. It's not the government that has the human rights. It's the women. The woman created us. The woman brought us to this land. This is the land that we came to be born to. And the soil was taken from this land to create us. I teach these things, and I welcome you to Hinton, Alberta. I'll take you guys around the symbols that are in the mountains about us. See, we can create a document, but I just want to say to King, when is he going to respond or tell his workers here in Ottawa to respect that treaty that was made with his great-grandfather, because it's binding agreement. And it's written down. Out of that, there's a law that's called the Royal Proclamation of 1764. That's still here today. Because without that law, there wouldn't be no Constitution. See, the Constitution came across in 1982. After that, they threw in a little section, Section 35, to protect us, supposedly. But what is it doing? You heard the King saying that he's going to put these legislations in that box, Section 35. Where I come from, Hinton, Alberta, clear cutting, mining, fracking, the water you can't even drink anymore. The cultural impact that's happening to our homeland. You know, we live by the lakes. Some of them reserves are still by the lakes today. Frog Lake, Cod Lake, Onion Lake, all those Gift Lake. That's where we were. Because of that, our sustenance, our food source was in those rivers, in those lakes. The animals that we eat today, they're impacted by those mining, oil and gas. It's not going to be only for us that's going to impact us. People that call themselves Canadian citizens, they're going to be impacted too if they're destroying the water. So the cultural impact for us, I'm a spiritual person. That's why we ran, because we wanted to protect our ceremonial bundles that are tied to the spirit of intent of treaties. Not only one side of treaty. So the government needs to talk to this worker here, Prime Minister of Canada. I mentioned yesterday, where does the money come from that the Prime Minister that give to Indian Affairs? It comes from the Crown, because we shared this land. We never gave up this land, and we need to ask the Prime Minister and the King, when are they gonna recognize our people and their homeland to be same as equal as them? Today, where we're standing, as soon as we come out from the reserves, they say we're urban Aboriginal people. That's not how it's supposed to be. We're supposed to be living as equal as everybody else. But no, they put us out right on the reserve. But we come out of there, you know, sometimes I drive by the reserve. As soon as I go out, I'm urban Aboriginal. But I'm still on treaty land. Our ceremonies, our laws, our international laws that we were given of this world, and to treat each other with respect. And that's where it started when we made those treaties. We respect Creator's creation. When our white brothers came here back in 1613, the Dutch and the Haudenosaunee welcomed those people. 1763 and 64, King George, his family. Again, we recognize that family to live here with us so they can prosper for what we have. And that's the beginning of that treaty. But they don't recognize that treaty anymore. What they want to recognize is the Imperial Crown. Do you see the Union Jack flying here? No more. You don't. What do you see is Canadian flag. This Prime Minister needs to listen to our leaders, because he's in our homeland, because we share this land. We need to look at our treaties. We need to interpret those treaties. We need to remind the King to do some homework of his great-grandfather that signed that international sovereign treaty. See, that treaty trumps Canadian law because it's a symbolic treaty. And it's still there. And it's recognized. And I can show you guys some documents that I have to back that up. But I just wanted to remind you, chiefs, somebody might say, oh, that Jim O'Cheese is not Indian actual chief. He's not recognized by the government. Well, I don't care. But King George recognized my people. That's why we kept the treaty. My great-grandfather ran because they were trying to charge him for treason back in the day. On the other side of my great-grandfather, Big Bear was put in prison because he got charged for treason. And he gave in, but asking for the medicines just cause in Treaty 6 territory. I just wanted to say that, my friends, and for the King, do some homework and let you people know that they're visitors to our land, and we treat them with respect. And let them to work with us, to understand us. I just wanted to say thank you. Because kitinim kakinami tigin o magaya e kevogisto gananas kumtena gakyo. Umakamit tamek utation iga nawasi sa kegagi we that to manistas Upigas ko nuao. Tan chiminakik. Tam chiminamoya ko kiwaga gimigoya. Ogam chiminakan makiskiwe. Kya ko. I just wanted to say that some people would say these chiefs and these leaders don't have no rights to this land. Hey, our birthright comes from this land. And we were born here. And we were created from this soil. So I ask you, chiefs, make your treaties again to come live on our side. Because we're being taught one side of interpretation what that treaty means. You heard the king saying today, he doesn't even let us to be inside there. And yet he's speaking in our homeland. So I just wanted to say thank you.
And Miigwech, that brings us to the end of this press conference. Miigwech, thank you so much to the leadership who